Q is an interview-based podcast connecting listeners with musicians, writers, producers, etc. through curated playlists. This is Next in the Queue.
Hello and welcome to Next in the Queue. This is an interview-based podcast that connects listeners with musicians, writers, producers, and really anyone in the music industry through curated playlists. Today I'm joined with May Rio. Do you want to do a small introduction?
Sure. Hi, I'm May Rio. I'm a New York-based artist. I make pop music. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad that we finally got to do this. You guys don't know, it's been months.
It's been
months in the making.
some trials and tribulations, but here we are.
From moving to getting COVID to just
being, I don't know.
Yeah. So you started making music as I'm going to use air quotes, as a late bloomer. Mm-hmm. And you said in a past interview that music is a youth-oriented industry. And I feel like that's a lot of things. I feel like adults don't really like to try new things once they feel like they've outgrown the starting period. So do you think that influenced how long it took you to get into music after a certain point, or what made you decide to pick up that guitar in a pawn shop that day?
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I definitely didn't think it was going to be anything. It really was just kind of me being bored for the first time in a while and looking for something to do. Yeah, there was no I didn't have a plan when I bought the guitar other than oh, this could be fun. And it definitely, I don't know, I feel this more than I felt this more when I started than I do now about it being a youth oriented industry. I mean, I still think that's true, but I don't think, I think there's more room for different types of people now than there used to be, but it is something I've thought about a bunch. I think it's funny that, other art forms, if you're a painter or if you're an actor, I mean, certainly you age out of certain roles if you're an actor, but you don't really have no one kind of expects you to be done by a certain age. If anything, you can keep growing. And I think not in all categories of music, but definitely the ones that I'm more in, my worlds are in, between pop and rock and whatever. I that is kind of more of an expected thing. And yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I feel especially with pop, they expect you to age out of being a pop star and then get into more serious, you transform and switch into something else. Mm-hmm. I don't know what a good example could be. I don't want to say Miley Cyrus because I feel it wasn't intentional. I mean, when she was younger, she what's the name of that album?
I think she is a good example, though, of just kind of going full stop party girl and then all of a sudden taking this very serious. I think Lady Gaga is a good example. I mean, there's endless examples.
Born.
Yeah,
It was Lady Gaga settled down into more of an acting.
Right. And she also, it's after when she sort of hit her peak with all, the really cool costumes and whatever, she really brought everything back down, and it was a jazz album she made or something. I don't remember. I've never I think she's really cool. I've never been that into her music, so I can't I don't know, I can't recall the names.
Names of it.
Yeah,
No, it's
but
okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
And I feel like especially for women.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a guy could like pick up a guitar at like 40 and then people will be like, oh wow, look at this really cool thing. And as a woman, they're like, aren't you a little too old to be
Definitely
doing X, Y, and Z?
Definitely. And I think a big part of it is like within these same like categories of music, it is very like character centered. Like there's other types of music where, you know, people are in it for the music. They might not know what the musician looks like they might not recognize them. But like with, you know, pop and rock, again, like where the vocal is so centered and you really are taking in not only the song, but like you feel like you're taking in the whole person behind it too. I think that just maybe allows the audience to feel more critical of, you know, the person behind it. I don't know. It's a funny thing. Well, I mean, and we'll see if like that ends up staying true or if like, you know, it evolves. But yeah.
And so how do you kind of feel about it now, being like older and like having like established your career kind of now?
That's fine. I mean, I think when I first started, like I just really it felt like a long time of feeling sort of this like frantic need to like quote unquote catch up. I felt like I'd started making music way too late, and you know, so many people start playing music when they're like 8 years old or younger, and I think once I learned to accept that maybe like my being kind of an amateur could benefit me a lot of the time, it's not something I really think about anymore at all.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that because I feel like not having started like from the same place as everybody else, you have like a different perspective on like how things can sound, and you can bring something else.
Yeah.
Something different.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I definitely don't claim that like one way of approaching it is better than the other, but I do, the benefit of not having any training or, you know, is that I feel freed from a lot of rules that I have a lot of friends who kind of struggle to forget certain rules once they've learned them. And that's been nice, you know. It would definitely speed up the process a bit if I, you know, did know a bit more theory and I wasn't just like picking everything out by ear. But yeah, it is what it is. I enjoy it. So
yeah, and so with this album, it was a little bit different than your like debut. Like you took your time a little bit more with this one and to sit with it instead of just like going through it like super fast. Do you think there are like pros and cons to doing both?
Yeah, I think the first album, Easy Bammer, which, I mean, we called it an album, but it was really sort of more like an EP because I think it's like 20 minutes running time. I think I was just like in a place when I made that album of just like needing to make it really fast. Yeah, just to kind of like shake things up for myself. That really didn't start out as like, again, it didn't start out as like a serious project. Like I didn't have any intention for what I was going to do with it. It really was just like this side thing for myself. Because I'd been in a band for a few years and had just kind of given all of my songs to the band. And yeah, so I think I needed to like move really fast right then and just do it. And then it's like once I'd done it, I'd sort of broken the seal and was able to like move forward knowing that I could do this and being able to like have a bit more patience, I guess. Yeah. Maybe patience isn't the right word, actually, because the first, I'm like rambling, but the first album didn't feel impatient, but I don't know, the second album, yeah, it was nice slowing down, and I ended up doubling some songs, like NYC UMT was originally gonna be on the first album, and it just wasn't working. And I'm glad I didn't put out that version, because I ended up like reworking it and yeah, just like doubling the song, and yeah, it was cool to move slower.
And in French Bath, you kind of draw from true experiences and then like things that are more exaggerated or like made up all together. Which do you think is more fun to create and like write?
I mean, I think like personally, I need them both. You know, if it was just one or the other, that would get pretty boring, I think. Like if I were only writing about my own experiences, I'd get so sick of myself. And if I were only writing about just like little narratives I have in my head, I don't think I'd get the sort of deep therapeutic thing that you get when, you know, you're just like dumping your own like real emotions out into a song. So yeah, for me, it's like, it's good to have both. Yeah.
And kind of like chicken or the egg question, do like which comes first, do you think, when you're like, it doesn't matter? Yeah.
No, there's no like rhyme or reason to how these songs come out. And yeah, I don't know. Each song feels like its own little world that I have to like enter in and out of. And some just like come out in like 2 hours. I just sit down and it's like, it exists all of a sudden. And others I have to like revisit for years. That's insane.
Are there any that didn't make the album that you're like, I still need to like kind of work on this before I can put it out there?
I think when I'm like, I'm always trying to like be writing in general, but like when there's a project like in motion, like when I have started actually tracking an album and not just like making demos at home, that does give me more energy to like keep writing. But there weren't, let's see, I have other totally written songs that didn't go on the album, but they just feel like too different than like what I'm doing right now. They probably won't be on the next album either, but I have like a ton of half-baked sons that, yeah, always.
And then aspartame. There we go. I always have trouble pronouncing that.
Like, yeah, people like to say aspartame.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, wait, no, I know it's not aspartame. Okay, so that song is about like a toxic friendship that you just needed to exit. I feel like with friendships, especially like ending them, they can be harder than like ending like a relationship with a significant other. How do you think like writing this song helps you like close the door to that friendship?
I think like I'm trying to be better about this. I think for a long time I was sort of afraid to get angry, if that makes sense. You know, like it feels kind of like a bad emotion, and it doesn't feel good to be angry. And I think with this person in particular, it was very hard to ever show that. And I think, you know, I think there's like different tones in this song, but one of them for me is kind of just like finally releasing my anger. Yeah, in a way that feels kind of empowering. And I think like that was good for me. Like it definitely felt very good to write that song, like a relief. Yeah.
You've said that you like country music.
Sure do.
That has influenced your writing process at all? I feel like older country music especially is like very much about storytelling and making things very exaggerated.
Yeah. I never like think about anything while I'm writing. But for sure, I'm sure it has influenced my writing. I mean, I really love like classic country and yeah, I mean, of course, like the stories told in so many country songs are, you know, incredible. And also like a lot of them are really funny too. And I know, like even I'm thinking of like Flowers on the Wall. I don't even know if you'd consider that like, you know, classic country or whatever, but there's just so many like good lines in that song that just packs so much of a punch. And also I think, you know, what's nice about like older country is just, you know, a lot of the songs are pretty simple, and I like to play around with, you know, my songwriting and structure or whatever, but it is nice to, I don't know, simplicity just feels good. Yeah.
And do you have like any musical influences that you draw from?
I mean, I definitely have artists that I'm like obsessed with, but I can't say, I mean, I would like to say that I draw from them, but I you know,
Yeah.
I can't really. Like I love Doja Cat, like love her. I'm pretty lucky. I like mainly just listen to like my friends' music, which is really cool. But you know, like Blake, The Man 1000, Frost Children, Shallow Halo, yeah, that whole crew. It's very nice to. I don't know, it's a very good feeling to. It's cool to like listen to music before it's done and hear its like evolution, you know.
And do you think, from like moving to New York, do you think that there's like a better sense of community here and people like collaborating with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I lived here before the pandemic also, and I'm just in a, like musically, I'm in a different world than I was in before the pandemic. So it's hard to say how much of the difference I feel is just like my personal life or how things have changed. But it does seem like things have changed, and like the pandemic sort of broke open a new world of people not being able to do what they'd been doing before and scrambling to find new ways to collaborate and make music. And I definitely feel like I have a really strong community now. And yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can like segue into your playlist because it kind of like ties into that.
Yeah.
You made a playlist called I Love NY. What would you call that? It's not the normal heart emoji. It's like the heart emoji with the dot.
What did I put it? Oh,
This one.
I think of it as being like an exclamation point.
Oh wow, an exclamation point.
Yeah.
That's actually okay. Yeah, I'm stealing it.
I've got to tell you, Tope, I really struggled to think of a playlist theme.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why. It just it's just one of those things. Had a big block around it. So
Yeah, but playlist is kind of centered around like your friends in New York.
yeah.
That you like and are interested in. Do you want to kind of like go through your like favorites and like who we should be listening to
Sure.
if we're in New York.
Oh yeah, so the first song is my friend Ernest Rarberg, and he is so good, like so weird. I got into him just from seeing him perform live. He puts on these really strange, they feel like plays, sort of.
Didn't they open for you? For your
Yeah.
release? Okay.
Yeah.
That's like the first because they've been on a ton of bills, but I haven't made it to see them. But
You
I
got
saw
it.
them.
Yeah.
for
Okay,
here.
cool. Yeah, it's very cool. It's like it's performance art, but then what's also cool is that like the music really stands on its own. Like I feel like I do see artists sometimes where I'm like, that is so sick, you know, their performance, but you know, I'm not gonna go listen to it at home. And yeah, everything Ernest does is so cool, and he's a sweet guy also. Yeah. And then the next one on the list is Sadie. She's a buddy. She's super funny, super talented. Excited for her. We're working on a song together right now.
Cool.
Maybe I shouldn't say that until it's done, but
Yeah, and they also released an EP this year.
Yeah.
It's really good.
yeah. Next is Soul Patch. Okay, so yeah, this playlist, I mean, the theme is
But
wrong. It's wrong. The theme is wrong. I don't know what the theme is, but Soul Patch is my friend Mulch. He's based in Philly, actually. He's also a really talented, weird guy in like, you know, the best kind of way. Keegan is number 4. Keegan Consor. Keegan moved here, I think it was earlier this year. And yeah, he's also just super creative. One of the funniest people I've ever met. And I don't know if you've ever seen, kind of like along with his release that he's been putting out, he's been making these videos, like these skits, and they're insane. Like,
yeah, they're playing a show at Elsewhere, I think.
yeah.
So I started listening to them. Like, I mean, you can tell that they're funny through like kind of like the music that they're putting out, and then like the visuals are really cool too.
The visuals are really cool, and it's just like I feel like he's like endlessly creative. Yeah. Who's next? Precious Human. Shout out to Christian Medrano. He's one of my closest friends here, and just a very good person, and also a very good songwriter, and pretty different. A pretty different tone than the other artists so far.
Yeah, I think I can't remember who they opened for. It was Sydney Gish, I think, and
Yeah.
Feeble Little Horse. I don't know. I need to stop doing this, but like whenever I don't listen to an artist, I just kind of like guess what kind of music it's gonna be based on the name. And it surprised me a lot.
What did you think it was gonna be?
I don't know. I thought it was gonna be like a lot heavier, like rock music.
That's funny.
I would like to say it's like more folk.
Definitely more folk. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've done that a lot. Like I feel like back when Brockhampton was a thing, I saw like who opened for them. Slow Tie and like 100 Gex. I had never heard either artist before, and like Slow Tie was like, oh, this is gonna be like a sweet R&B lady. I think he came out with like Psycho or something, and I was like, oh, this is so intense. But I feel like I need to stop doing that. I'm like,
I mean, how can you not do that? You know, yeah, it's fine to be surprised. But yeah, that's funny though. Okay, next is Coco and Claire with Porches. I mean, I don't know Coco and Claire personally. They're around sometimes. I'm a big Porches fan, have been for a while. So yeah, I love this song, Lamb. I like had it on repeat for days. All these songs
Lamb is really
are repeat
good.
songs.
Cherub is really good on this album. It's sexy, right? Sexy album.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't listened through the whole album yet. I kind of get like caught on songs.
No, sometimes it's like you do get caught on songs, and sometimes there's so much music coming out, I get overwhelmed. I'm like, I can't listen to everything.
Definitely. But then you'll like finally you'll have a day where you're like, I'm gonna listen to the album today, and then you pull the album up and you see the song that you know and love and desire, and it just okay, next song is Agnes Cruel by Tony Velour. Don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's in New York. I was
always about to ask you that. I think, like, a story I have about them, I don't know if it was like a free, like, Eternal thing where they were like playing at a skate park. They were really, really good, but I mean, it was like child vibes, but it's okay. Just a lot.
Oh, like the skate park.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant him.
No.
And I was like, whoa.
No.
Okay.
It was just like, I don't know. It's in Bushwick. It's like a skate. I'm going to sound a skate center. A skate community. I don't know. But it was really fun. But there was a lot of sweaty bodies.
Yeah. Sweaty adolescent bodies.
Yeah.
Okay, next, Blake the Man 1000, Ibuprofen. Very good song. I feel like that was the first song Blake put out that kind of really went with his new sound that he was exploring. And,
You collaborated
it's so
with
good.
Blake before, too.
Yeah.
You guys have listened to.
Yeah. He left for tour a few days ago. And
In Budapest?
and he's in London right now. I don't know. He's going to some crazy places. I can't keep track, but yeah. Okay, next we've got Garbage Girl. It's my friend Sabina. She's so cool and so funny. All my friends are funny, which is nice. But yeah, I also just love her whole world that she's built. And then next is Melody English, Parasite. I am definitely just like a fan of anything Melody does. Her solo album that she put out a couple years ago was like, top notch. Got a lot of listens from me, and I'm also a fan of Test Subjects, and
Their stage setup is pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen
crazy.
it.
Were you at the Babies show?
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, they have like a school setup to describe to people that are listening, and they have like a couple like dress changes and like a really cool computer like gaming setup kind of.
Yeah, they like built a set on the stage, and it's funny. It's hard to describe exactly like what the world is that they've built, but at the same time, it's very specific and like it feels very sharp.
And I think being able to like build a set is kind of cool, especially like that small scale. I feel like some artists don't really get to do that until like they're playing like really big stadiums.
Yeah.
And, like, get to like actually explore like creative directing, like what they want to happen.
Yeah, it's inspiring to just like take the live shows to the next level. Okay, next we've got Big Dumb Baby. My friend Ashley is, I'm just gonna keep saying this, she's also really fucking funny, and I just think she's wildly talented. I love this song, but she has other songs out that are more, filled out like instrumentally or whatever, but I just love her songwriting, and I love her voice, and she rules. And then we've got Grace Ives, big fan of her. Yeah, I just love her music. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janky Star was like on repeat for a while last year.
Yeah. It feels so good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's also an incredible performer. And okay, then we've got the Frosties. Yeah. So this is a song, Wonderland. It's the Frost Children with Blake and me. And that was really fun. Yeah, I love this song. And it was sweet. We shot a music video for it in Joe's restaurant in Ridgewood.
Yeah.
And so they let us like come in before the restaurant opened and just like, you know, do our thing in the kitchen or whatever.
Do you guys go there a lot? Or?
They go there a lot. I don't go there a lot because it's just like kind of inconvenient.
Yeah.
I would like to go there more, but yeah.
That'd be a trek. It'd be like...
It's a trek. It's worth it, but definitely if, you know, there's a lot of just like impromptu hangs going on, and if they're like, dinner at Joe's in 30, I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Not happening. Yeah. Chanel Beads is the penultimate artist on the list. And yeah, I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with them lately. I think when I first heard the song F-E-F, I don't even know.
I've been saying F, yeah.
F, okay.
Yeah.
F. It was on repeat for like an entire day. I was like working, just vibing to that song.
That's so awesome. I love having those songs. Yeah, so they're, I think they're gonna do really well, which it's cool to see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement around them right now, but they're also just like so nice and fun to hang out with, and gonna do a show with them later this year. And our managers are like best friends, which is nice. Like I've been hanging out with them more. And then the last artist is Contour. Also not New York based.
But really good.
But really super good. Yeah. And I've been really into Contour for a few years. Like he has an EP out called Wait, and I just had that EP like on repeat for like an entire summer. And if I'm like really trying to impress someone, I'll like send them a song from that EP. Yeah.
That's cool. So you got to get a little taste of all of your friends.
Yeah.
And like people that you like. And yeah, so I have a few like New York City based questions for you.
Let's have it.
If you're
Yeah.
down. Okay, so how long have you been in New York City? I know you said that you moved here before the pandemic, but like how long have you?
Yeah, I've been here a long time. Maybe 9 years. Not sure.
Do you
Yeah.
think that you're gonna like be here forever? Or
I don't know.
yeah, I feel like that's a hard question to ask. I feel like people ask
Yeah.
it a lot, but it's like
I've never like envisioned my future, not in like a dark way, but like I've just never had a 5-year plan, or like I don't know, it's hard to imagine living anywhere else at this point, but
yeah, I feel like also for me, my parents are like, they immigrated here, and like I have family all over, and I feel like some people have like family that's like really close, so it's like almost decided where they're gonna settle down. So I've never really had that like in the back of my mind. So same, like I don't have like a 5-year plan, so I'm like, I don't really know where I'm gonna be. Like I could stay here forever, I could, but I could also move and go somewhere else.
Also, things change so quickly, you know, like who could have ever predicted 2020? I mean, I guess some people did in very specific scientific communities, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I will say I love living here now, and I seem to love it more with each year. And I've got like the most amazing friends here, so we'll probably be here a while. We'll see. Yeah.
And then how do you think it differs from like Austin, like where you from?
Well, yeah, I mean, Austin, I don't spend a lot of time there anymore. I mean, I haven't lived there in, like a decade. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like don't love Austin anymore. I do love Austin. You know, it holds a special place in my heart, but I do think what has been done to Austin is, you know, something that's been done to a lot of American cities, of just like tech kind of moving in and taking over. And it feels like a very shiny place now.
Yeah.
And it gets hot. It gets hotter there every year. Like, really.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it just does. So, but you're probably asking about like the music scene specifically.
I mean, like, music, or just like related to like how like you've lived your life. And
Yeah.
what makes you want to stay here as opposed to there?
I think like when it comes to music, one thing that drew me to New York initially was whenever I would visit, I would get different glimpses of, you know, what was happening musically here. And it really felt like there's some cities that kind of have a developed sound that like sound specific to Philly or specific to Providence or whatever. But I feel like New York doesn't have that. There's just so many different things going on, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, you can just make whatever you want, and, you know,
Yeah.
it'll land somewhere.
I feel like there's also like different pockets, like, but even if there are little pockets, like no one's just like, this is my pocket and I don't go into anything else. Like, I feel like everyone's kind of just like,
Yeah, experimenting and like and even like there are definitely like pockets, but I do think the pockets overlap.
Yeah,
And
that's what-
yeah, and like take from each other. Yeah.
do you like ever romanticize anything like about New York, like compared to like other places? Or do you watch a lot of like New York media? I feel like now that I've moved here, I've watched like a lot of like things that take place in New York. I'm like, oh, I know where that is.
Yeah, no, I definitely do that too. Yeah, there's something deeply comforting about it. I think I do romanticize New York in, I guess I'm just like, I'm still interested in it. And I know that like no matter how many restaurants I go to or neighborhoods I try and visit, like I'm never gonna like have a full understanding. And I think it can be easy to get in a rut here of like, you know, go to the neighborhood you live in, you go to the neighborhood you work in, you go to the neighborhood like your friends hang out in. But yeah, if you ever decide to just like go further south in Brooklyn or go further north in Manhattan or whatever, it's just like a whole, every neighborhood is its own world. And
Yeah, I think because I've only been here for 2 years, I still feel like new. Like,
Yeah.
Because there's like just so much to do and like places to go and explore.
yeah, it's and even if you don't do anything, just like going to a different
Yeah.
neighborhood and like walking around, like I've had like so many times over the years just this feeling of like, where am I? You know, like, yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, I feel like That happens to me too. Sometimes, I don't know, like, I feel like you'll be, like, getting used to the city, and then you'll, like, get lost or do something. You're like, oh, wow, this is reminding me that, like, there's so much that I haven't seen. Like, I remember when I first moved here and I was trying to navigate, like, the subway system and just, like...
Which are still impossible to navigate, by the way.
And, just getting lost and being like, how do I get on this side? Like, literally when I first moved here, my first 3 months, I lived off the Halsey L, but I took, if you guys don't know, because I took Wilson instead because I couldn't find the entrance
to the
Halsey stop, but I knew where the Wilson was, so I went backwards to go forwards, and I did that for like 3 months until someone was like, it's actually just like around here.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but New York will test you sometimes.
Oh, it sure will. Yeah. When, like, the R is running on the A line, like, shit like that. I'm like, this, what is this?
The L on the weekends is just, like, been horror. So, it's been so bad lately. But yeah, do you have anything else that you want to add, or, like, last final words or anything?
Final words.
Do you want to plug?
Do you want to plug?
Oh, you have 2 shows kind of coming up with Romeo.
Yeah, have some shows coming up, so thank you. October 4th, gonna play at Baby's, opening for Lutalo. It's gonna be fun. And then October 13th, Friday the 13th, spookiest day of the year, opening for Chromeo at Brooklyn Steel. And then the following day, opening for Chromeo at Music Hall Williamsburg, and gonna play with Chanel Beats in November. Yeah, so I'm excited. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this. I'm glad that we finally...
Oh my god. Yes, we did it.
If you guys only know how long it's been planning this, you would be like, wow, I'm surprised that this happened at all.
Honestly, our email thread was like...
It's so long. It's so long, and it's just us going back and forth.
Yeah.
Completely. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and see you next time.
Thanks, Topi.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you missed those May Rio shows, don't worry. They are opening for the Big Moon at Music Hall of Williamsburg on 11/15, and opening for Godcaster at TVI on December 12th. So I will link those in the description if you want to catch a ticket and see them in New York. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.